the finale. It's not just an episode. It is a finale. There is finality to it. The name of this episode is The Lion, the Witch. I mean, the
Jedi.
The Jedi, the Witch, and the Warlord.
Warlord.
That's what I meant to say. I don't know how I would get this
I don't
mixed
know,
up.
dude.
Give me with some pros, man.
All right.
I got them all listed out here.
The pros, you got them all listed out?
No, just go ahead.
Is it a blank page?
No.
Instead.
What?
there
No,
was
I
some
literally
good-
have. You can see them. They're there.
It's
I see
completely
nothing.
blank, everybody. Don't believe anything he says.
It's about me.
Lies.
Eyes.
No, I mean, Ezra showed up. He fought really well in this one.
He's been here.
Can I say that? Is that a spoiler? I forget.
Don't
Yeah.
spoil
You
anything.
knew he was there.
Yeah, no, Ezra was there. and
I didn't know he
What'd you
was
think?
there.
He was just gonna
he
take him
stepped
away?
up more, and he was, man, Iman Esfandi is doing a great job
Yeah.
with what he
Agreed.
has to work with. He is doing a fantastic job. So I'm excited for what they're going to continue to do with Ezra if they keep this actor as Ezra in the future.
Yeah.
So basically, Iman Esfandi, way to go. The music was amazing.
Dude,
This is
it was.
the peak music I've ever heard. Maybe
in Disney Star Wars. Other than, I don't know, John Lucas or John.
I mean, live action Star
John
Wars
Williams,
TV.
wow.
I mean, live action TV. This is the best.
Yeah.
Cinematic film quality.
Oh,
Man,
yeah.
Kevin Kiner did it. He delivers in Rebels, and this he delivers like on another level. It just continues the themes, but he built the moments like they never knew they were going to be built.
Like,
And I
he
enjoyed it.
He was working overtime. I mean,
Yeah.
with
OT.
what they gave him,
Time and a half.
he was like blowing it apart. I was like, holy cow, without this music, I don't know what I'm watching right now, but I know now because there's music and it's amazing. Matt, you want to hit me up with some? You got any pros rattling around that cabeza of yours?
I don't. I really don't.
He doesn't have
Okay,
any.
well, I'll jump into it. Our fact checker, I know you actually enjoyed this one quite a bit. What about you?
You act like it's a surprise.
actually enjoyed this one. Fact
No,
checker.
I'm
not a
no,
surprise.
I'm just saying
Okay.
it's a good.
Yeah, overall pros. Let's see. I mean, there's a lot of good action. So Matt, you should have said that.
Action, Matt. I have them listed out. All right, here's what I'm going to say here, and you guys can stop as we go through them. All right, so pros of this finale. Hu Yang, boom.
Ooh, yeah.
One of my favorite
He's
parts
good.
of the
Nice.
entire
Definitely.
series and of this episode. The beginning was amazing with him. That was the most believable Star Wars part, I think, of this whole thing almost. I really enjoyed.
Yes.
Any interaction with Hu Yang was better. Any.
Yeah,
He
I agree.
elevated every character
Yep.
in this.
I liked him.
You're
Whenever you had a
absolutely
scene
right.
with him, you're just like, dude, that's an actor, baby.
That's an actor, baby.
actor.
And he's a
robot.
droid.
Yeah, and he's a flipping droid. All right, and then I'd say the score. We already said the score was amazing. Dan touched upon that. CGI, yes, the CGI is on point in this episode.
Yeah,
Throughout
it
the whole
is.
series, I'd say the CGI was fantastic.
Fan
It was
flipping
killer,
tastic.
man.
It's like they spent all their money on it.
Yeah, they did spend. I do feel like they spent a
Yeah.
lot of money.
I hope
on
Ray
this.
Stevenson made a
Which
lot
was
of money
worth
too.
it. Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too.
The good
For his
actors,
family,
Lars
too,
Mikkelsen.
you know.
Yeah, I mean, they
What's
had
he
some.
gonna do with it?
I don't know. They had
Oh
some
my God.
really good actors in this
He's
one.
got
You know what I'm saying?
family. Could go to his family.
Like those people need like a raise. I mean, Lars carried
Yeah,
what
and-
he got. Iman Esfandi did amazing. I mean, there was a lot of good acting in this. I'm just saying there's certain characters that stood out, like Balin,
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah,
they had to deliver a lot of stuff. And
yeah. There was just actors that I felt like were not overacting, but they were like out acting everybody in the scenes they were in. And I just don't feel like they were given enough to work with.
Yeah.
And then there's some others that you're just like, oh, okay.
This episode, it turned around. One.
I know what you're
actor,
talking about. I think.
Yeah, felt like they actually belonged in the series.
Oh.
Morgan. I think,
Elsbeth.
did
Are you
better.
serious right now?
Yep.
Yeah, better in this episode than the rest when she's just standing there. She had
Yeah,
stuff. I'm not spoiling it.
Yeah.
Shit stuff.
But also, so there's one cool looking scene with Thrawn in this that I was like, that looks cinematic, and I like the look of it. And then I'd say Balin was a pro and a con. I'm saying Balin is a pro and a con, and specifically this episode. For the entire series, Balin is a major pro,
Oh yeah.
and maybe things to come. I'd say the fighting. There's a lot of action in this, and there's moments that I was like, yeah, that's pretty good.
Some is decent, but
Yeah, go ahead, man.
some wasn't on par, I guess. I didn't love all of it.
some of the fight scenes left me wanting more. I guess you could say, like it just didn't have that weight to
Some of
a
it
good
was-
action sequence.
Yeah, it wasn't. Some of it just wasn't choreographed right either.
Yeah, it was a little lackluster. You know what they needed? They really needed was George Lucas to show up and say, faster, more intense. I mean, really, I as we all kind of make fun of that in some ways. I don't, but I do. That's what they needed. I think
Right.
throughout, I mean, that's a running thing through the whole show, honestly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But the troopers, specific troopers in this in a vacuum is a pro, but it's also a con for me. It's
Okay.
Also a con, but more just how they were handled versus and the way they performed. But I'd say the idea of it is cool. So the idea is a pro, but
Okay.
and I think there's more to come on that. And then like you were saying, Dan, about Ezra. I think Ezra was a pro and a con in this for me. I think Iman Esfandi was a huge pro. He definitely
yeah.
did Ezra right.
Shredded.
It was amazing.
Thank
He did
you.
a great job.
Thank you. I'm so thankful that we got some good Ezra in this one, and he didn't get the treatment that he got in the episode 7 for me, right?
Yeah.
Because he didn't have much to deliver in 7, but you're like, he's got to have it, you know?
There's a few
And,
cons I have with him, but it's more the writing
Right.
and the story, than
yeah,
it is
right.
his acting or
I saw
what he
somebody
does.
say in the chat the lore that we got from this.
Yeah.
And I agree. Star Wars at its core is about the lore.
Core
Yeah,
and
it
lore.
is.
And things did get furthered for the lore in this time period, and it did open up a little bit of a Pandora's box.
Right.
While the way that they did it, maybe we could argue about, right? But at the end, this could have been maybe explained in an opening crawl of a movie, and they gave us 8 episodes.
Yes, I agree with
But they gave us the 8 episodes, so we could imagine what the opening crawl was, and this is what we got. So the things did move forward.
I'll say also last for the pros for me. I mean, there's probably more out there. This is just what I've written. The cameo at the end, I'd say it was a pro for me. There's definitely a cameo that I enjoyed at the end, non-spoiler, but I would say it was a pro. Kind of a pro and a con, but mostly a pro for me. So you guys know what I'm talking about, right?
Nope.
Nope. Not
Okay, all right. Well, let's jump into these cons with that negativity. No, I'm just joking. All right, hit me with some cons.
Hit me with your best shot.
No, I wasn't gonna actually say. Now we're copyright strike. Now we're done.
No,
We're done.
only
Though.
2 seconds.
Oh, okay.
I have a con.
Do it.
I felt like there was too much, and it's not dead air, but like long pauses or
Yes. Yes.
slow
Preach it,
progression of the
sister.
story
Preach it,
in
sister.
multiple parts. Overall, I liked the episode a fair amount, a good amount, but there was moments that I was like, okay, come on, let's get to the meat.
Let's get snappy.
Faster, more intense.
Yeah,
Faster, more
right?
intense. Yeah, I guess.
It just makes common sense. All right. What about you, Matt? You got any cons for this? I feel like you got some cons
I got
since you went like
cons.
straight to the dark side.
What Angela said, or fact checker.
Oh, thank you.
Oh,
I agree
Whatever
with
she
her.
said. Yeah, we do.
yeah, you do.
For the first
It's about
ever.
time.
No, I'm joking.
It's about
All
time.
right, he's coming to the dark
Nice.
side.
Coming to the dark
My
side.
bribe paid off.
Yeah, you bribed him.
Oh, brother.
Well,
What the heck?
I got to
Need
win
money.
somehow.
I needed the money.
I needed the money.
All right, just keep going.
Yes,
What other
please.
cons you got, Matt?
Some of the acting. Some of the action.
Hit me
Here we
with your
go.
best shot. Now I got this stuck in my head.
The
Fire away.
episode was the finale, but it didn't feel like it.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think that's.
1,000%.
I feel like that is kind of the crux of it.
Yep.
And that is, I think, kind of one of the biggest cons for me in this as well. It
They,
wasn't satisfying enough of an ending. It was for me.
I think because they keep doing it on a lot of stuff, is where they like leave everything open where they can like do anything they want instead of picking one thing and going with it, because they
Yeah.
don't know what the heck they want to do, and it kind of stinks.
Well, yeah, it's there's too. I feel like there's too much teasing and not enough delivery. There's not enough meat to things. In some aspects of this episode,
Right.
yes, there were some
Yeah.
answers.
Yeah.
To be fair,
They closed most of the Rebels characters like little arcs that we got. Rebels characters, little arcs. You know what I'm saying? Like the in the confined, box that they opened up at the beginning of the episode, or the beginning of the season with, Sabine and Ahsoka. They wrapped that little thing up, which could have been wrapped up in probably one episode, but they really gave us that at the end, and then the reveal with Ezra and the rest of the characters. They kind of solved it all by the end. It was very, very simple. Like you said, it wasn't a ton. It wasn't like very complex.
I think a con too is just it was super predictable. That's what I mean, you didn't know everything, but you knew for the most part how it was going to end. Like we knew, I don't want to spoil it, it's non-spoilers. Well, and there was so no much surprise. Yeah. There weren't really surprises in this. There's no like wow moments for me that were like, oh my goodness, that was a bold choice.
Well, I just listened to the video last night, and I said, well, what if there's one thing, Dustin, that might like make you not want to, not happy with this? And you're like, if there's no, like, I need a wow moment. You said that exactly.
I did.
I need a wow moment, something that makes me go, wow.
Yeah,
that's what a wow moment is.
There was not.
I did not say wow.
Yeah.
You kind of said, ow.
That hurt.
That hurt me.
But then again, some people say that the open-endedness is nice because, in the Star Wars universe, if you kill somebody, it ends the story forever.
Yeah, that's difficult.
If, for me, if they had announced that this is going to be like the first season of 3 or 4, then like, okay, well, they're not going to solve everything now. We have that expectation that they're going to build this over 4 seasons like Rebels, or even 2 seasons, Right. But because the way that it didn't fully answer half of the people's questions.
Yeah.
Right, obviously you're going to
you're like, more okay, well, obviously there's more. And then I think it was also complicated by the fact that Ray Stevenson passed. So all of us go into that. If he hadn't, we wouldn't be worried about that as much.
Right.
We'd be like, oh, okay, well, yeah, I guess he's going to go. But Ray Stevens, but Balin was such a huge part going in. And then because he was amazing, nobody could stop talking about him. Like, he's amazing. Right. What are they going to do now?
Yeah, exactly.
We got to know what happens. We got to solve this.
Well, yeah, did they change? I mean, we're in non-spoiler still. Sorry.
But did they change the ending because of what happened? Right. These are the questions we still have.
Yeah.
So,
agreed.
But, it's interesting because, like I said, people are excited that they're going to hopefully do more. And that's why... they didn't give us all the answers now, so we could play in the sandbox a little bit more. And but I get what you're saying, that we needed a little bit more,
finality,
or heaviness,
satisfaction with like character choices, development,
right? Like
arcs.
Like maybe they played it a little bit safe again. You know what I'm saying?
But here's my con. Yeah. Here's another big con for me. So I see what you're saying about the sandbox, but the problem with the sandbox in some ways is. There's been so many theories out there that have been amazing that I would much rather see than this show. I'm just saying that right now. Like the sandbox, like I feel like everybody's coming up with cooler ideas. We can all come up with cooler ideas in our head. Now they might not deliver the same. So granted, it's difficult to come up with a good cohesive story. I understand that. So that's why I'm giving some grace. But the sandbox, it's super fun to play in the sandbox. But the problem is if you give me something that's less cool than what I thought of, or at least less interesting than what we already thought of. And that's our preconceived notions in some ways. So we got to be fair in that regard. That's on us in some ways. But it's still like, don't subvert our expectations with something that's not even as good as our expectations. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Kind of makes sense. Anyway.
Yeah.
But there's some more cons. So I feel like the biggest con for this overall is bad writing. It's just, like I said, the CGI was amazing. There's so many amazing things going on in this, and the actors and everything. Everybody's trying their best. But if you have bad writing and not a engaging story as far as like pacing goes and everything, like getting to the meat, getting to things, moving things along, I just feel like it just bogs everything down. And that's the biggest con I have for this.
Yeah.
And I still think Filoni can deliver, but in this, it's taken my faith in Filoni way down. I'm just saying, it was not to the peak that I think Dave Filoni could possibly be. And there's some growing pains. It's the first season, so I have to be
full live action.
So I have to be fair in that regard. But just how I'm feeling about it, that's how I'm feeling. And maybe these are Dave, if you're still watching, I'm not bashing you. I'm just trying to give you constructive criticism as to moving forward things you could work on. What do you guys think about that, though, the writing of this?
Yeah, no, I think you're right.
Agreed.
What do you think, Matt? Because there's so many levels of like making an artistic thing that I don't fully understand it. I didn't go to film school, but when I watch Andor, I'm not a writer, but I watched Andor, I was like, oh my goodness, like this is so well written.
Right.
Like that's what I start saying. I'm like, I don't even know what that means, but this is well written.
You can just tell.
That's story, but then also dialogue. The dialogue wasn't so bad in this one. Like every line that they said kind of delivered a little bit better, other than
Depending on who's saying it.
depending on who's saying it. But I mean, the dialogue was better in 8. I'm saying than certain other episodes. And then the pacing of the way it was edited was a little bit better. Like it was a little bit tightened up at certain parts. Then they kind of dragged on with some of the action sequences that felt a little bit weak. So where the dialogue maybe improved and the pacing of the conversations improved this one, then the action kind of like slowed it down a little bit.
Yeah.
And because you're like,
and that's backwards.
so yeah, exactly. So whereas before, like finally they stopped talking, they're going to fight. Okay, good.
Right.
And this one was kind of a 180, a little bit of that for me, but it wasn't so terrible. I kind of nitpicked a little bit of the action for me. I was like, oh no. When I watched it again, I was kind of like, that was a little weak, like actually really weak, certain moments of the fighting. And I love seeing, lightsabers, and I love seeing Star Wars battles. But then there's questions of like, how did they survive that? Like that should have ended them. Like again from 7, I felt like there wasn't the peril. Like our characters still were really in no peril.
Yeah, that was another one. No stakes.
Okay,
that's what I felt like.
Yeah, I mean there were stakes in the sense, like you said, that they're going to miss the bus. That's what we started off with.
I loved your analogy about that yesterday. That was a
say it
perfect
again.
analogy.
So the analogy was, if you weren't here last night, basically everything was happy at the end of episode 7.
Yeah. How exciting is it for of a story is it for you being late to the bus?
Yeah.
Right? Sorry, I just stole your thunder. Go ahead.
That's basically it. Like, are they, like, we were just worried that they weren't going to catch the ride out of the galaxy. Yeah, like, how are they going to get out? That was the only, stress part. Yeah. I didn't think any of them were going to die. I didn't think, because they all survived craziness in 7. And
no spoilers in 8 still. Sorry.
And so we're going to spoil it. But, it's okay. It's okay. It's just, Hannah says, I think the stakes were just like this is the beginning, not the end. There are never stakes in the beginning. So that's fair.
Yeah.
It's still early.
Especially since it's the first season. I just didn't. Is a season 2 greenlit? I meant to look that up. A fact checker, can you maybe look up to see if they have a season, if they're working on season 2?
Again, this is where us as like analyzers are like, okay, well, what are they going to give us? Are they going to give us season 2? Like, how are they going to set this up? Because we don't know. They haven't confirmed anything.
Right.
Is Filoni going to do this into a movie? All the people are like, what does this lead into? And if it doesn't lead into anything because they don't know, then they should wrap it up so they can close the book and tell something new.
Right.
But they didn't wrap it up. So that tells me that they're going to do a season 2 or they're going to do a movie.
I mean, there's going to have to be more. That's kind of,
so as an isolated story, it's fun. And I really did overall enjoy the season. We'll get into the season talk later. But this episode, while it was better than 7, it wasn't as grandiose and all the way through. I mean, there was a lot of big moments happening.
Right.
But then there was also some plot moments and a couple of big things that we didn't get answered that kind of made me like, why didn't we?
Yeah.
Like now that the season's over, I'm like, we still never got that answer.
Right.
As I was thinking, I was like,
those teases. That's what I'm like.
Yeah.
You just keep teasing things, then I don't know. It become at some point.
It was super teasing.
When do you just be like, okay, we're never getting the answer, or like, I'm tired of waiting. Like, I'm tired of waiting. This is you've led me on far enough. This is it. I'm done. That's kind of the point it's getting to. That's the only problem with it.
And if you weren't a super fan, you don't understand some of the references that we did get.
Exactly.
Like at all. So we get what's happening at the end, but some of this, nuggets that we got, and I love those nuggets for Rebels fans and Clone Wars fans.
Nuggets.
I love nuggets.
Chicken
but
nuggets.
Anyway, beyond that, why didn't we get do the non-super fans get any of that ending? Or are they just like, I guess there's no answers. I don't know.
They're setting it up. So I looked. Yeah. There's no confirmation of a season 2. Most people are saying it's possible that Ahsoka's story and her friends will finish in the theater.
Oh, and the movie that Dave was rumored to be working on.
Not saying specifically that, but at least a movie.
Okay.
Because of course her story crosses with Mando, and things are dependent on that too.
Right.
So it's still up in the air. I mean, I'm sure Disney has plans at this point, but they're not spilling the beans yet.
Right. Exactly.
The taco beans.
The taco beans.
Who would
All
win in a
right, so-
fight, a nugget or a taco? No, I'm kidding.
Here we go.
Stay on
Food on
target.
target. All right. Yeah. So you touched on a lot of the cons I had written there.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much everything. I didn't absolutely love the title ripoff too. I was gonna say the title ripoff was
Yeah, what the
not
heck,
like.
man?
It makes me think more instead of like fun. It's like, okay, you guys have anything original? That's the only problem with me in some ways with that title. That's not a big. That's more of a gripe than it is a con. There's no stakes was a big thing. The big con for me is I didn't feel like Thrawn lived up to expectations of who he was. It wasn't like a total flop.
Because Lars did a great job.
Lars did a great job. Yes. Acting wise, he did fantastic.
Yep.
But I
you're
just
right.
feel like they didn't handle Thrawn to the degree that he should have been handled, as smart as he is. So that's a big con for me. Yeah, like you said, no, not satisfying as far as it's more meh, kind of. I hate to say it, it's more meh than it is anything else. Disney has become the masters of meh. That's kind of, in my opinion. It's all done in a committee. It's just not fascinating anymore. There's no risk. There's no big, I don't know. Anyway, so there's that. There's also some forced tension in this episode.
Yeah.
Like some things that just didn't make sense. You're like, really? It takes that long for something to happen? Like when you think about it, you're just like, that makes zero sense to me. And then at the very end, pretty much, not the very, very end, but at the end when they're kind of wrapping things up or leading on to more, it's there's a moment where it's just the choice is like the dumbest choice ever, just to force tension, and that doesn't even need to be there. And I hated that. I definitely did not enjoy that at all. So let's rate it though. Let's rate it out of 5. So out of 5 Rebels, what are you guys going, baby?
See, I didn't hate the episode as much as you guys. This episode as a individual episode.
I didn't absolutely hate it.
So I gave it a 4 out of 5 actually, and I didn't want to be there because I've been waiting all season for like a 10 out of 5 moment,
right?
And because it's a 4 out of 5, that's actually pretty low for me for a finale. We had some 5 out of 5s this season. We had some 6 out of 5s for me. And if you got a 5 out of 5 on this episode, I'm so happy for you because that means you enjoyed it and that means they delivered what they were trying to deliver. Yeah. And that's great. It did set up some things. And I'm excited about setup because it means we're getting more. And I love these characters because I'm a Rebels guy. Right. So 4 out of 5 Rebels.
Room for improvement. Yep, I like that. What about you, Matt?
It just didn't deliver, dude.
It didn't deliver for you?
As much as I liked Rebels and everything and Ahsoka, did not do it. So
what you gonna give it?
2.
Whoa.
Okay.
2 out of 5 for this specific episode, you mean?
This episode, yeah.
I was debating going lower, but I won't.
Wow. 2 out of 5 for Monstrous Matt. Dark side.
Interesting.
Muscly,
Sorry.
monstrous Matt.
But not really.
Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, I like the episode. Biggest gripe was that it didn't feel like a finale. Just like Hannah's saying, yeah, it's setting it up for more. I hate waiting, I guess. I'm very impatient. I want more now. This felt like it should have been mid-season finale.
Did feel like a mid-season finale.
With more episodes to come. So because of that, I would give it a 4 out of 5.
All right, yeah. For me, I think I'm gonna go with a 3 out of 5 on this one. 3 out of 5. So there's moments I enjoyed in this, but overall it was kind of more meh to me than anything. So yeah, that's mine, and that will conclude the non-spoiler section of the show. Thank you for tuning in, and we will continue on to the spoilers section. And I want to hear everybody else. I know we're gonna get to